Hey guys, it's Thomas here with Technovision, and welcome to the next episode of our Minecraft modding tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be covering tags, which were previously known as the OR dictionary. And essentially, tags allow you to group blocks, items, entities, and fluid types really under an umbrella or a group, essentially a tag that puts them all together and says, hey, you can use all of these blocks to substitute any of them in a crafting recipe. So I guess the best way to explain this is, let's say for example the wooden pickaxe in Minecraft. You can craft it with any of the plank types like dark oak, birch, spruce, oak. All of those plank types work. Not because Minecraft makes a different recipe for every single plank type. That would be a total nightmare. What it does is it groups all of the planks together under one tag called planks. All of the plank blocks, and it says, hey, you can use just this tag in the crafting recipe, which means essentially any of these plank types will work for this one recipe. This is also how things like mod packs like Feed the Beast, for example, which have multiple copper ingot objects from different mods. It allows you to use this copper object across mods for different crafting recipes. So your copper ingot could be used in a different mod that has recipes for copper. Alright, so what I'm going to do in this tutorial is show you how to create your own custom tags, how to use them in a crafting recipe, how to override vanilla tags, and how to use them in code so you can use them in an event or whatever you really need to use them for. So to get started, what you want to do, if you want to make a custom tag, this is a tag that is specific to your mod, you want to come over to resources over here, open this up, go to data, your mod ID, and inside of this mod ID folder, we need to create a new folder. So create a new directory, and we want to name this just tags. Hit enter, and inside of this folder, we're going to create 4 subfolders that stand for 4 different tag types, essentially, that you can use. So first one is going to be blocks, and this is going to store tags for blocks, as you would assume. Next one is going to be entity underscore types, and this is going to allow you to group entities. Next one is going to be fluids, like water or lava. And the last one is going to be, as you would guess, items. Alright, so when you're making a tag, what you want to do is first decide which category it fits under. If you're trying to group together blocks, you want to put that in blocks. If you're trying to group together items, you want to put that in items, and so on and so on. So just keep that in mind. What we're going to do is I'm going to actually make a tag called gems that'll allow us to group together Ruby, our custom Ruby object, and the vanilla emerald object, so that you can use any gem essentially in our crafting recipes. So what I want to do, since those are items, is come to our items package here, right click, create a new file, and the name here doesn't really matter, but I would recommend naming it whatever your group is. So mine is going to be gems because I'm grouping together emeralds and rubies, so I'm going to put gems.json. Hit enter, add to repository, and we're going to do some basic JSON coding, so don't worry if you really don't know JSON that well, but of course it's always better to know the syntax beforehand. So what you want to do is open up with some braces, and inside of here we're going to put in 2 values, essentially 2 objects. First one is going to be replace with a colon, and you want to set this to false and add a comma afterwards. So what this is going to do for your tag, if you set this to true, this is going to have your tag, your custom tag, replace any other tags with the same name in like any other mod. So if it's a mod pack that you're using that has multiple mods that all have a gems.json tag, if you set this to replace, it'll replace all of those that load before your mod, of course. I would say just leave this to false unless you're specifically trying to override another mod, because if you set it to false, it'll just add whatever is in this folder, or this file rather, to the other existing ones, which is much better because it means that there's just more options for you. So I would leave this to replace is equal to false unless you know what you're doing. And then the next one is going to be our values, and it's exactly what you think. So values with a colon, and then we want to open this up with some brackets here, because some square brackets, because we do want to put multiple objects in here, and this is where you're going to put different items that are going to be grouped under your tag. So for example, if you wanted to add a vanilla item to this tag group, this gems tag group, you would put some little quotation marks, then the mod ID of vanilla Minecraft, which would be Minecraft, a colon, and then the name of the item you're trying to add. So mine is going to be emerald, so that's what I'm going to add. Now, if you wanted to, for example, add an item from your mod, what you could do, if we want to add a second item here, we do have to add a comma at the end. What you could do is, instead of Minecraft, you could put your mod ID, which is tutorial, colon, and then you could put the name of your object. So mine is going to be Ruby. So this tag is actually pretty much done. What it's saying here is it's grouping together an emerald from vanilla Minecraft and a ruby from our custom mod, and it's saying you can use either of these in a crafting recipe that uses the gems tag. So we're going to use this in a crafting recipe, but just know that you can add as many values here as you want. I don't think there's really any limit. Just, you always have to add a comma when you add a new entry, and then just, pretty much paste them all in until you're happy with your group. And let me just back up here, file, save all. Now, I did want to show you really quickly a vanilla tag, just so you sort of get another idea of how this works. So I did actually get the planks JSON, this tag from vanilla Minecraft, and if you right click and edit with Notepad++, you'll notice that it's exactly like we said. This is the same format for all four of these tag types, so it doesn't change. It's the same everywhere. But you can see just like with the planks tag that they have set in vanilla Minecraft, they have a bunch of different plank objects, and it's saying anything that uses this planks tag will be able to use any of these plank types in their crafting recipe. So hopefully that makes it a little bit more clear, and now we can move on to recipes. Alright, so to use this actual tag in your recipe, you want to go over to recipes and find a recipe that you want to change or modify. I did already talk about recipes, so hopefully you sort of have this down, but I'm going to take the Ruby block JSON here. And in this recipe, this crafting recipe we made a long time ago in I think it was like the 4th or 5th episode, we have set here a recipe for rubies all around the crafting recipe, except for in the middle, it's going to have 1 diamond, and that would help you or allow you to create a ruby block. What I want to do is make it so that you can just use any gem instead of rubies, but you have to use the diamond in the center. So to do that, for each of your keys, we have a key here that's set to an item. I talked about that in the crafting recipe video. So what you can do is you can actually set these keys to a tag instead of an item. And to do that, for example, we have our ruby item here. I want to change this to gems, so you can use any gem. So instead of item, you want to have this just say tags. And you want to, tag, very important, not tags with an S, it has to be tag, singular. And you want your mod ID, if it is a custom one, that is, and you want the name of the tag. So our tag is called gems, so we would type gems. Again, that's your mod ID, and then the name of the tag, this tag we just made down here. And that's pretty much it. So what this will allow us to do now is use emeralds or rubies instead of just rubies for our X key here in our crafting recipe. Now, if you wanted to use a vanilla tag, for example, the planks tag we have here, I'm just gonna test it right now for here, but I mean, obviously you wouldn't use planks for this recipe, but what you could just keep tag here, and instead of tutorial, you would want to use Minecraft if it's a vanilla tag, and then you would just type the name of the vanilla tag, and this one in this case is planks, and that would allow you to use the planks tag here. But again, I want to use my custom tag, so I'm gonna leave it like this, and this should work totally fine. So let's file, save all, and we can run the game and test it out. Alright, so we're inside of the game now, and I have some of our gems here so we can actually try out this crafting recipe. And if you come over here, so first let's try just the base crafting recipe. Now we did say that you can use emeralds and rubies in our tag here instead of just rubies or emeralds. So what we want to do is try the original crafting recipe, which was rubies all the way around and a diamond in the middle. And there we go, we do have our block of rubies, so that's working great. Now let's try the emerald that we set here with a diamond. And there we go, we got our block. So as you can see, we can now use emeralds and rubies for our crafting recipe, and we didn't even need to make an entirely new crafting recipe. So this is gonna save you a lot of time, especially if you have a lot of different items that are very similar and are used in different crafting recipes. Alright, so now I'm gonna show you how to override a vanilla tag and add your own custom items to it or edit it or whatever you wanna do. So go to your desktop, and to find some vanilla tags to edit, you wanna go to your File Explorer, go to %app data %, go to .minecraft, go to versions, and hopefully you have a 1.16.1 version if you've played on that version. Open up the executable jar file with WinRAR or 7-zip, whatever you want. And inside of here is essentially your game installation. So you want to come to data, Minecraft, tags, and as you can see, we've got our 4 groups here. So I'm actually going to override the planks tag. So I want to go to blocks and I want to find planks, and you can search for whatever you like here. I'm going to drag it to my desktop, and inside of here we're going to add our custom Ruby block. I know it's like stupid, doesn't make sense to add that to the planks tag, but I am just showing an example here. So to add this to the game, what you want to do is first go to your IntelliJ, and inside of here you want to go up. Let's close all of these. You want to go all the way up to oh, there we go. You want to go up to data here, and you know how we have our mod ID folder here. Well, if we want to override a vanilla recipe or tag or anything vanilla, we have to have a vanilla folder. So inside of data, you want to right click, new directory, and I'm just going to name this Minecraft. Well, you have to name it Minecraft. I don't know why I said that so nonchalantly. It must be named Minecraft because this is the vanilla files, so very important. And just like we have here, we want to add a new folder inside of Minecraft called tags. And again, you can add whatever you want in here, whatever is necessary for your tag. So I'm just going to add a blocks tag, so I can just add a blocks folder. And we're going to drag it into here. So make sure, again, if you're overriding a vanilla tag, it has to be in the this new vanilla package structure that we're making. So I'm going to drag it into IntelliJ, drag it in, refactor, add to repository, and we have our vanilla tag inside of our mod. Now we want to modify it. You can do whatever you want here. You can remove some of these items, change them up. I'm going to add a new entry. Again, we need to add a comma there. And my entry is just going to be the Ruby block. So our mod ID, comma, and the name of our block, Ruby_block. And again, this name here that I'm getting is the name that's in our registry handler. These names right here. That's what I'm getting. So this will add our Ruby block to the planks tag. So now we can use the Ruby block for things like a wooden pickaxe. I know it's like stupid, but just an example. All right, so now I want to talk about forge tags, and forge tags allow you to create really awesome compatible items that you can use across all different mods, even if they have nothing to do with your mod, which is really cool, just like the iron ingot thing that I mentioned earlier for mod packs. So to do that, if you actually go to the description here, I have all of the forge tags linked here in the Minecraft Forge GitHub, and you can see if we open up like items, for example, that there are actually a lot of custom groups that Forge has made. Like for example, the gems group is a perfect opportunity for us to add our custom gem to, and you can see that there's like a diamond and an emerald, and if you open these up, you'll actually notice that it's just one item, but that's because these exist so that mods can add to them over time and override them, so that, you know, there's a bunch of different compatibility with different mods. So for example, I want my Ruby object here in registry handler. I want this to be compatible with other mods. If another mod has a Ruby object, I want them to be able to use my Ruby in their crafting recipe, even though my mod has nothing to do with their mod. So what I can do is I can find a category that I care about, like for example gems, and I can actually tap into it and use it and override it and add to it. So let's do that. So for example, what you could do, and we have to again make another sub category here in data, is we want to add a new directory called Forge. And again, this is all optional if this is something you want to do, but I really recommend doing it. It'll make your mod really great in mod packs. So you want to make a new directory called Forge, and you want this to just again have a new directory named tags, because we are adding some new tags here. And I'm just going to add to the items tag, so items. And let me just check here again. You can cross check here. So items. Now the one I want to specifically add to is gems. So we want to make a new package in, or a directory rather, in items, gems in my case. And I want to add a custom, where is it? A custom JSON in here. So what you could do is add to one of these, or you could create your own. So I'm going to create my own new file, and I'm going to call this ruby.json, add a repository, and And what we can do is just copy our gems here, just so we have an example. But there you go. You pretty much have a forge tag now, a custom forge tag that you can use. And I mean, I don't really know what mods use a Ruby forge tag instead of gems, but if they do, then it will be added and my Ruby will be able to be used. So pretty cool. And another thing I should mention, if we go to like recipes and we go to our Ruby_block, you'll notice here that I'm using the item, the Minecraft item diamond. Now this is fine, but if I really want my mod to be like compatible with a bunch of different mods, to be able to use diamonds from all sorts of different like crazy mods that have like blood diamonds and all sorts of special diamonds, what I can do is change this to tag and then change the domain here to forge. And then the directory I believe is gems/. And if we go to gems here in our Minecraft Forge in the items tag, if we go to gems, you can see there is a diamond.json here. If we use this instead, so gems/diamond, again, this is the directory. What this is going to do, just like we have here, it's going to have all of the items inside of this tag be able to be used in my recipe. And sure, right now there is nothing but just a vanilla diamond in there, but you never know, someone could be playing a mod pack that has like a blood diamond in it, and this will allow you to actually use that special item from a different mod in your recipe, which is really cool. And I really urge you to do this with all of your crafting recipes, because trust me, it's going to make your mod so amazing in mod packs and people are going to love you for it. So definitely do that. But now that we're done with all of the JSONs, we can close all of these out. Hope that wasn't too confusing. I know it's a lot of information. What I want to talk about is actual code use. So you can actually access your tags in code, and we can just make a test class here. Oh, definitely don't want to do that. Let's close all of these. So let's say, for example, let's just make a test class, new class. I'm going to name it tags. So this is going to be a test class that I'm not going to actually use. I'm going to delete it right after this video, but just so that you can see some of the ways that you can access tags. So hopefully you'll be using this information in other places, like maybe in events or whatever you want to use it for. But I just want to show you really quickly. So if you want to access a tag that you have, a custom tag, what you can do is create a resource location object. And we can just name this like my tag ID. And we can import resource location. We want this to equal a new resource location. And this is going to pass in two things. First, your mod ID, so tutorial.modID, and then your tag. So what you're going to put here is a string, and it's going to be the name, the path to your tag. So for example, if you wanted to get, let's open up resources again. If you wanted to get your custom tag that we just made called, what is it called? Gems here. Then we would just put gems and add a semicolon, and that would get your gems, whatever it's called, your gems tag. But if, for example, you wanted to get like, what is it called? Our forge tag here that we made, you can see that our forge tag is actually in an extra subdirectory in gems. So we would have to add, again, this is the Ruby tag here. You would have to put gems/Ruby. Because this is the path. So if it's under a subdirectory, then it's definitely going to need to be included in this path. But I'm just going to have our gems here for the custom tag we made in our mod. So this is going to allow you to get your tag ID. And what you can do is, let's say you have like an item. I'm just going to get a random item, like item, test item. Let me import this real quick. So let's say you have a random item, and we can just grab like our registry handler dot, let's grab like a Ruby. So let's say you have an item, and again, this is all hypothetical, assuming that you have this in a different class, you're using this. Oh, I forgot to do .get because it is a registry object. So let's say you have an item and your tag ID. What you can do is, for example, like you can make a Boolean like is in group to check if your item is inside of a tag. So like you could do item tags dot get collection dot get or create tag, and you could pass in here your tag ID, so my tag ID, and then you could check if it contains an item like test item. So again, all hypothetical, but what you could use this for is like to check in an event if, for example, like one of your items is inside of your custom tag. And you don't have to use just custom tags. You can also use vanilla tags. Like I could put like planks in here, and that would grab, well, we would have to make sure that the mod ID was vanilla, so Minecraft for the mod ID, and then planks. And then same thing if you were using a forge tag, this would have to be forge, and then, you know, gem/ruby. So yeah, hopefully you get the idea. You can use these to sort of access your tags in the game. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for tags. I hope you learned a lot. I know it's a lot of information, really confusing, but definitely mess around with it, see what you can do, and I will see you in the next episode.